Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another special ranking video. Tonight, I will be counting down my picks for the top 10 primetime TV shows. Now for this list, I will not be including westerns, as I've already done a list of the TV westerns. If you've not seen that video, check it out in the link above. And I won't be doing any TV shows from the 2000s. This will be strictly around 70s, 80s, and 90s. Alright, so with that being said, let's begin this list. Coming in at number 10, we have Fantasy Island, which aired from 1977 to 1984 on ABC, and starred Ricardo Montalban and Herb Velazquez. Now, this one, I always loved the Mr. Rourke character in some respects, but I also found him to be a very, very creepy TV character. Because the plot on Fantasy Island is every week you have a different group of characters that are put through the motions by Rourke because of something that they are doing that is either wrong in their lives or they're just a bad person and they're on Fantasy Island to get their comeuppance. And those were always my favorite episodes, was the ones when it's just purely someone that's an evil person that gets stuck on this island and Rourke torments them and puts them through hell. But when it's the normal people, some of these average people that are on there and he's doing some of this creepy stuff on there, it's kind of a... But I really like Ricardo Montalban's performance in here. He's really great. The only thing that brings this one down for me, it would be higher on this list probably, is Herb Velazquez's tattoo. He gets kind of annoying at certain points on this show. But I still love it because of Ricardo Montalban. Alright, so let's move on to number 9. And my number 9 is Magnum P.I., which aired from 1980 to 1988 on CBS and starred Tom Selleck, John Hillerman, Roger E. Mosley, and Larry Manetti. Now, this is the series that Tom Selleck turned down Indiana Jones for. And, you know, it is a beloved show, so you cannot fault him for that. But this series, Tom Selleck had so much charisma in this character that he became one of the most beloved TV characters of all time because of his performance on this. And with good reason. The Thomas Magnum character is so cool. And his interactions and his chemistry with John Hillerman is excellent. That's what makes this, on top of the hot little girls that he'd get in there every once in a while. But Magnum P.I. is my number 9. Alright, so coming in at number 8, we have The Waltons, which ran from 1970 to 1981 on CBS and starred Richard Thomas, Ralph Waite, Michael Learned, Ellen Corby, and Will Greer. Now this one, the storyline basically started off with a movie in 1963 called Spencer's Mountain, which starred Henry Fonda and Maureen O'Hara. And eventually they would make a TV movie in 1971 called Homecoming, A Christmas Story, which was based on the same story that Spencer's Mountain was. Eventually that TV movie made the network CBS go, man, we got to make this into a series. And they did it. And The Waltons is just such a great family drama series that has likable characters throughout it that you are totally invested in. especially characters like Ralph Waite and Will Greer. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to fully make it through this series before his death in 1978. But this is a really cool TV show and beloved characters. Could not have a list like this without the Waltons. All right, so coming in at number 7, we have Hill Street Blues, which ran from 1981 to 1987 on NBC and starred Daniel J. Travanti, Veronica Hamill, Michael Conrad, Bruce Weiss, and Joe Spano. Now, this series was, alongside a lot of these others that are on this list for me, and that's why they make the list, was a very, very popular series in the Emmys. The Emmy Award nominations and wins year after year. And with good reason. It is one of the best and more realistic police dramas that was ever put out on television. Daniel J. Travanti is incredible in his role, as is Veronica Hamill, and she's just so attractive in her role as well. All right, so coming in at number 6, we have The Rockford Files, which ran from 1974 to 1980 on NBC and starred James Garner, Noah Berry Jr., Joe Santos, Gretchen Corbett, and Stuart Margolin. Now, between Maverick and The Rockford Files, these shows made James Garner a household name in acting. And I love the James Rockford character just as much as I love the Maverick character. And he is just so tough and no nonsense in his investigator role in this. And the cast around him are just so good. They have such good chemistry. It just made such a fun series, especially his father, Noah Berry Jr. Their interactions were great. But yeah, if you've not seen this series, man, it is great. All right, so coming in at number 5, we have Little House on the Prairie, which ran from 1976 to 1982 on NBC and starred Michael Landon, Karen Grassel, Melissa Gilbert, and Melissa Sue Anderson. Now, this series, much like the Waltons, was big on television from this era. And even if you weren't into this kind of a show, you still knew of it, and you still probably watched it and enjoyed it. There's what's not to like? I mean, the storylines are well written and well acted. It's got a great cast. Everybody else in it, the supporting characters, are all kind of likable, other than a few, which I'm not going to name right now. But with Melissa Gilbert and Melissa Sue Anderson going on to become household names because of this series. And of course, Michael Landon leading it in his, second big success after Bonanza and before. Another series that I almost debated putting on this list with Highway to Heaven. Great series. All right, so coming in at number 4, we have T.J. Hooker, which ran from 1982 to 1985 on ABC and in 1986 on CBS. And starred William Shatner, Adrian Zmed, Heather Locklear, and Richard Hurd. Now, this is one of those rare occurrences, and I'll have one more on this list, where a series started off on one network and then it got picked up by another after it got canceled or something like that. And that's the case with T.J. Hooker. And, I could not understand for the life of me why ABC would have ever canceled T.J. Hooker. William Shatner was so great in this role, and it was such a different kind of a character than his James T. Kirk character in Star Trek. And his portrayal of T.J. Hooker in this series as this no-nonsense sergeant in this police department is great. He is a tough character, but he has a sentimental side to him that makes him totally relatable and totally likable in here. And then you have a partner with him, with Adrian Zmed, who as Romano is just so likable and cool in his own respect. And then, of course, you have Heather Locklear as Stacy Sheridan, and she is just so beautiful and really good in her performance in this series as well. So, yeah, couldn't have a list without T.J. Hooker. All right, so coming in at number 3, we have Columbo, which ran from 1968 to 1978 on NBC and ran from 1989 to 2003 on ABC and starred the unreplaceable Peter Falk. Now, this is the other one that I was talking about where it aired on a different network after it kind of got canceled. And I think Columbo is one of the most famous and best known characters from TV. And there's a reason for that. Peter Falk is totally perfect in this role. He is so likable, and I love how he lures his villains of the week into thinking that he is a dumbass and they are going to get away with this crime. And then, as he's walking away, at the end of an episode, he will end up, doing that slight turn and then, just one more thing. And Peter Falk was perfect in this role. I absolutely love Columbo. All right, so coming in at number 2, we have The Fall Guy, which ran from 1981 to 1986 on ABC and starred Lee Majors, Douglas Barr, and Heather Thomas. And in the first season, you had Joanne Flug as Big Jack, and in the rest of the series, you had Marky Post as Terry. And this series just has such a great little ensemble around Lee Majors, who prior to this had been Steve Austin in The $6 Million Man. And I could have put that series on this list, but I do not find his performance in that series. And he is another one, just like Michael Landon, where he had, 3 huge series. With Big Valley as first, and then, of course, he had $6 Million Man, and then he had this. And every one of them was very successful for him, and it's very unusual for a actor like that. And another one that was like that was my previous pick on this with T.J. Hooker's William Shatner. These people are successful in TV shows like this for a reason. It's because they are that likable. They are that good as these characters. And Lee Majors was great as Colt Seavers. Great character, and everyone around him was amazing. He had a great chemistry with Douglas Barr as Howie and Heather Thomas as Jody. So Yep, I couldn't have a top 10 primetime TV shows list without The Fall Guy. All right, so coming in at my number one spot is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And that is Murder, She Wrote, which ran from 1984 to 1996 on CBS and starred the legendary Angela Lansbury. Now, I have always been a fan of the Agatha Christie novels and adaptations, and when this series came out, and it had basically every week was basically an Agatha Christie mystery and everything, and the way that Angela Lansbury portrayed Jessica Fletcher as a character, it was just such a beloved show. Well done, well played. Everyone around Angela Lansbury worked really well off of her, and this series is, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, the greatest television series of all time. And part of that is because of the legendary status of Angela Lansbury. She is just so perfect as Jessica Fletcher. You totally support her in every case that she's working on, and cannot wait to see her bring down the bad guy at the end. She is very much the female variation, in a way, to Peter Falk's Columbo, in my opinion. Two of the greatest television characters ever on film. But what do you think of my list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm sure some of you do disagree with my rankings on this one, but remember, this is my list. If you have your own list of your favorite primetime TV shows that you want to share with me and everything, let me know in those comments down below, but please be respectful. All right, so hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area on the channel right now where you can request a movie, TV series, or ranking video of your choosing. And when that video goes live, it will go up for all Plus members to view, prior to it coming up for all other subscribers. So, if you want to get interactive and help us to get even more movies and TV shows or whatever on this channel, become a Plus member. And if you missed last week's ranking video, check out the link above. And if you missed any of our other ranking videos, check out this playlist and get caught up.